Good evening. I went to Alexandria's Gay and Lesbian Pride today, and just wanted to. First of all, I couldn't really film there because they were playing a lot of pre-recorded music, and it's probably copyrighted, so I couldn't really make a video with it. YouTube would probably accept, but I just wanted to talk about a couple things. I did talk to somebody in our Alexandria school system about this issue about the appropriateness of material that is presented to kids, that's been in other states. And the woman said that, that it is inclusive, but that most of the examples that you were seeing on the internet with libs of TikTok and so forth, she thought were being handpicked to create dissension. She didn't think that was representative of what happens in the schools or what happened in their schools. But then I went indoors to the drag queen story hour, and I did not film the actual story, but she mentioned a couple of books, children's books. One of them I think it's called If You're a Drag Queen. Another one is called Love with Love, if I have to try to remember the names. But there are children's books being written about gender identity and trying to make children accept the idea that gender is not as cut and dry as we used to accept it was, so that people will be treated better. Of course, there were parents with small children there. Of course, this is something that parents who wanted their children to see it came to. I did not film in there. Some people did. I thought maybe it would be a problem if I did. The issues, really, there's two issues. One is that there really is something called intersex, and about 1.7% of all people have some biochemical, I don't like to call it an abnormality, but have something that is other than the usual XY with no complications. And usually it doesn't mean a whole lot. And sometimes it's treated when it doesn't have to be. The state laws that have been trying to stop treatment of people over gender issues before they're minors usually have exceptions for those, but usually those don't get much attention. What's getting attention is people small children who think it who believe that they are a member of the other gender and don't have a definite reason to believe that, or don't have a physiological explanation. And that's a very small percentage of people, according to, like about 0.2% need intervention. And of course, some of the state laws are interfering with that kind of thing and so forth. So it's figuring out what the actual policy ought to be without having exploitation or without having inappropriate materials in the classroom actually is rather challenging to recognize all the science, because the science is more complicated than people think. There's some videos on SciShow on YouTube that explain some of the physiology, but that usually is something that usually isn't what is getting the attention. It is people believing they are because of things they hear on social media and so forth, or at least that's what the right thinks. So that's what the issue was. I looked at a few other, I did take a few other pictures today, and I'll probably put them in a blog and so forth. But I just wanted to mention that I was at the event today, and it's still very unsettled in my mind how it ought to be treated, but that's where we are right now.